Peace, my family, and we're all back to all those coming out of that good cocoon for the first time. Welcome. This your girl, the butterfly, and we about to take off. Let's fly. Just want to send you all that good healing energy your way. Peace, love, happiness, harmony, and abundance. Hope you guys are out there keeping your mind right in that good 9 mind. How y'all feeling today? Hope you guys most definitely moving up in your higher nature and cleansing. Say what? Oh yeah. Cleansing the lows. I came on here today to express and share another clip from our master teacher's book, The L's Holy Injyil, the book of Revelations. This right here will certainly help you on this good journey within. So, with that being said, family, let's get started. This is chapter 18, and it goes like this. John sees another angels come from the Orion skies, announcing the fall of the great city, Babylon, because of how she seduced the whole world to follow her fornicating ways. Verse 1. And after I, Yukihana Bar Zebedee, saw these things, another Malachi came down from Samyami, having great power, and the planet Earth resonated his glory. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was litten with his glory. And after that I, John, son of Zebedee, saw another Anunnaki Elohim descending down from the Orion skies, and he had great authority. And the planet Earth was lit up by his brilliance, because he brought the true light to the planet Earth. Verse 2. And he cried with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. The great is fallen, and has become dwelling place for demons, and the prison of every unclean and hateful bird. And he cried out with power, saying, the fall of the great Babylon has come, and has become a dwelling for the physical devils, and a place that guarded every impure soul, and an enclosure for impure and detestable birds. And he cried with a voice, saying, Babylon the Great has fallen, and has become the dwelling place of demons, and the prison of every unclean and hateful bird. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is, and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, in the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And he cried, and with a great voice, saying, Babylon the Big is fallen. The time has now come for the demise of Babylon, the fourth empire of the evil reptilian, to come to an end like all others. And America has become the dwelling place of demons, and a home for physical malevolent beings, and the prison of every unclean, unholy demon and hated bird, taking the symbol of the eagle for the nature of a vulture, because it is powerful, and it kills. The eagle was not always the symbol of the seal of the United States of America. The original bird was the phoenix bird, which was used because it represented the new Roman Empire rising out of an old Roman Empire. Verse 3. And for all the Gentiles have drunken wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the planet earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the planet earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Because the nations have drunken of the intoxicant of the punishment of her fornication, and the kings of the planet earth fornicate with her, and the businessmen of the planet earth have all become very rich by the way of her luxuries. And for all Gentile nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the planet earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the planet earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Because all nations have drank of the intoxicant of her punishment of her fornication, partaking in the delicacies of the harlot, living deliciously with will taste the punishments of hell's fires. And the rulers of the planet earth, who are the real red, black Arabs, who fornicate with her, and the businessmen of the planet earth have all become very rich by way of her luxuries. Verse 4. And I heard another voice from Orion's skies come out of her. And it reads again. And I, Yuki-Hannah, heard, nation of people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. Another voice from Ha-Semas, saying, leave her, O my kindred, so that you don't become a binder of partners with her sins, so that you all will not get her plagues. And I, Yuki-Hannah bar Zebri, heard another voice from Samyami, saying, come out of her, my nation of people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of the plagues. And I heard another voice from the heavens saying, come out to her, my people, that you may not be partakers of her sins, and that you receive not her plagues. And I, John, son of Zebedee, heard another voice from the Orion skies saying, leave her, O my kindred, my family of Adam, Nubians, so that you don't become a binder of partners with her in her sins, and come out of Babylon, so you won't believe the evil reptilians' teachings, that Jesus, the Son, God, the Father, and Gabriel, the Holy Ghost, or in Egypt, Osiris, Isis, and Horus, or in Beliana, Anu, Elil, and Ea, or Greece, Zeus, Bathlia, and Apollo, or Zoroastrianism, Anu, Anahita, Mathra, or in Buddhist, Buddha, Ba, Haset, and God, Ma, are one and the same. Don't become a polytheist. Polytheist. Don't become a polytheist. Don't become a polytheist. A person who believes in more than one God by believing in three gods called the Trinity. People become polytheists through ignorance. For such a grief that their egregious enchantments and no forgiveness, so that you all will not get her plagues, which consist of many mentioned throughout the book of Revelations. There are 2 sets of plagues. The first set are all announced by the blow of the trumpet. Verse 5. And for her sins have reached unto Uranus, and Theos has remembered her iniquities. And for the sins have piled on top of each other, so that they reach right up to Samuel, or the Elrab remembers her wrongdoing. For her sins have reached in Samuel, and Yahweh of the Elohim has remembered her iniquities. And her sins have reached into heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. For her sins have piled on top of each other, so that they reach up, right up to the Orion skies, and the Theos remembers her wrongdoing. Verse 6. Reward her, even as she rewarded you, and double into her, double according to her works in the cup which she has filled to her double. Reward her the likes she rewarded you, and give her twice as much the likes of her own works in a glass which is mixed with mixture of her own sins. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double into her double according to her works in a cup which she has filled to her double. And reward her even as she rewarded you, and double into her double according to her works in the cup which she had filled to her double. Reward her the likes she rewarded you. The holy will suffer the same treatment as she inflicted upon the innocent and the righteous souls, and give her twice as much the likes of her own works in a glass which is mixed with a mixture of her own sins. This is the same cup of fornication and abomination. The harlot is described as holding in her hand in Revelation 17:4. New Babylon, America, is going to be taken care of the way, or is going to be taken care of the way she has taken care of the Nubians for all these years. The pain and suffering and heartache she has afflicted will return upon her, and the time has come for Babylon to reap what she has sown, but she will receive it double-fold. Right now she is pouring the cup of destruction, from which she will drink, in her endeavor to destroy the Nubian race. Her plan has backfired on her, and she tried to kill us off with drugs, but didn't think that her own kids would be dying from overdoses also. She is losing her children, she's losing her kids to evil worship and rock music, with the latest being the Black Nubian man's heavy metal, hip-hop. Everything that they created to harm Nubians have turned around and began to attack them. She destroyed the ozone layer and poisoned the air and water, and has generally broken down the ecological makeup of the planet Earth, causing her people to be affected adversely by the sun. Emirates are literally dropping dead from overexposure to the sun rays. Thus, by her hands, she is causing her very own downfall. Verse 7. How much she had glorified herself in living blissfully, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she hath in her heart, I seat a queen and widow, and shall she see sorrow. How much hath glorified her, lived blissfully, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she hath in her heart, I said, a queen, widow, and shall she see sorrow. How much have she glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she hath in her heart. I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall she see no sorrow. And as she glorified herself with songs such as America the Beautiful, Star Spangled Banner, My Country, Tears or Die, and her Pledge of Allegiance, and lived luxuriously in comfort, as that gave her suffering and weeping. As much as the holy glorifies herself, living good in the lap of luxury, she is to receive that much suffering and torment, because she says in her heart, as she truly believes it, surely I sit a queen, which derived from the Old English word "zoon," which means a woman prostitute, and I'm not a widow, revealing the fact that she did not inherit her wealth and status from a dead man, but that she is simply a product of all the previous empires of the evil reptilian. And I am not going to experience any sadness. She truly believes she will never fall. The United States thinks itself to be invisible, but Theos will pass judgment on her, and she will be destroyed. This harlot is symbolic of the Statue of Liberty, the Queen of England, the minister priest of Israel. She petitioned to give the so-called Jews a separate state in Israel, which was broken in 1996 AD by the Jews, giving the Palestinians not a part of Israel or Jewish land, but in Bethlehem, a Christian land, which resulted in an uprising of Ethiopians all over Israel, the true Israelites, which will continue in and on until an attempt on the part of these true Israelites to take back the Holy Land. The seat of the Queen is in jeopardy in 1996 AD by the disgrace to the royal family by harlots, and the seat of the false Israelites in Israel is in threat in 1996 AD by the Ethiopians' uprising. And these are prophecies being fulfilled when it says the queen will be pulled down by her own people. These women represent the harlot, because as leaders of the countries, they succeeded in making the nations of the world partake in her fornications, enjoying her luxuries, and assisting her to condemn others to do a life of poverty and starvation. There are also other harlots such as Elizabeth Taylor, Marilyn Monroe, who represents the two harlots who founded the old society, which were Jigram and Maria Hosrich, and they tried to represent them with a Cher and Madonna, but it didn't work. So they resurrected Marilyn Monroe, and they gave Elizabeth Taylor a second life. She was on the verge of death, and now she looks 20 years younger. Her health is not as bad anymore. They couldn't physically resurrect Marilyn Monroe because she was already dead. So what they did was put out her face all over posters and on stamps, and they even have a computer software program of her. That is how they resurrect their dead. Princess Diana is the new harlot. She was one who was to bring the harlot to the throne. In Revelations 17:4, it says that the harlot was arrayed in gold and precious pearl and stones. And if you go back and check out Princess Di's wedding, she had the most elaborate wedding. They went to the throne They want to dethrone the royal family because they are embarrassment by bringing scandals about money, sex, infidelity, and etc. They are bringing all kinds of attention to themselves, and this is the prophecy of the harlot bringing down the world. That's why they call her Princess Di. Di meaning death. Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and sorrow and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong and courageous Dios who judged her. Just for that her plagues will come in one day. There shall come down and weeping and starvation, and she will burn by fire, because Allah has power, and she has passed judgment on her, and he has passed judgment on her. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and sorrow and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with her fire, for strong is the Yahweh of the Elohim who judgeth her. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for the strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. Just for her plagues will come in one day. The plagues will come all at once, the way the world is today, with it all diseases and famines, with all the diseases and famines and pestilence and earthquakes and wars. There will come death from many different circumstances. People will start to feel the serious side effects of the wrath of Theos in a form of many natural and unnatural disasters, which will plague the earth. Death by war, death by disease, death by forces of nature as never seen before. And weeping and starvation. The people of America shall cry from their misery, and some will die from their inadequate water supplies and food shortages and devastating effects of mass famine and droughts, and she will burn by a fire, because Dios has power and he has passed judgment on her. For the first time ever, a world war will be fought on America's soil. Nations of the world will fight a fierce war against her, bringing destruction never felt before in the shores of the USA. Verse 9. And the kings of the planet Earth, who has committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall wail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And there will be crying and weeping for her. And the kings of the planet Earth will fornicate with her and enjoy the comforts of life. And when they see the smoke of the fire of her burning, it reads again. And the kings of the planet Earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall wail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament her for her. And when they shall see the smoke of her burning, and there will be crying and weeping because of her. And when those who have fornicated with the harlots and enjoyed the luxuries afforded them because of their relationship with her see her destruction, they will be exceedingly sad, because they will see their own world go up in smoke. The rulers of the planet Earth who fornicated with her and enjoyed the comforts of life, when they see the smoke of the fire of her burning, they thought that America was indestructible and will be severely disappointed. Verse 10. Standing afar off, the fear of her torment, saying, Woe, 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 that great city Babylon, and standing from her, that is, mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Distance, because they are in error of her torment, saying, Woe, 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 is the great city Babylon, the city which had so much power, just because of 1 hour has come her judgment. standing afar off the fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Standing afar for the fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And standing from a far distance, because they are in terror of her torment, they will not come to her aid for fear that her punishment will befall them. And that's exactly what happens quite frequently with America internationally, saying, plague, plague is the great city Babylon, and the city which had so much power, just because of 1 hour has come your judgment. And the end of the new Babylon has finally come. In half an hour from 1970 AD, it has been on a course to eternal damnation to occur in the year 2000 AD. And the merchants of the planet Earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And the businessmen of the planet Earth shall cry and weep because of her, because all their merchants, or all the merchandise, no one will buy from them anymore. And the merchants of the planet Earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And the businessmen of the planet Earth will cry and weep because of her, and they will see their individual empires of wealth crumble right along with America, and they will react in the same manner in the merchants of Tyre, and they will react in the same merchants of Tyre did when the great city fell. Ezekiel 27:27-36. Because of all their merchandise, no one will buy from them anymore. They will no longer have a great demand for their merchandise. When Babylon, America goes up in smoke, the businessmen, merchants will lose their most lucrative customer. And the United States is one of the biggest importers of the world. By virtue of this, the economic destruction and the reaction of those who will witness it in horror, just as Tyre fell, so will Babylon. Verse 12. And the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet, all thine wood and all the matter vessels of ivory and all the matter vessels of most precious wood and brass and iron and marble, and the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and silks of purple and silks of red and all the kinds of expensive woods and every pottery from ivory, every pottery, precious stone and brass and iron and marble, and the merchandise of the gold and silver and precious stone and all of the pearls and the fine linen and the purple and silk and scarlet and all the fine wood and all of the matter of vessels of ivory and all the matter of most precious wood and all the brass, iron, and marble, and the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all of the fine wood and all the matter of vessels of ivory and all the matter of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble, and the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and silks of purple and silks of red and all kinds of expensive woods and every pottery from ivory to every pottery of precious stone and brass and iron and marble. For this you can see that this great city Babylon is very wealthy. These list of imports and exports in these verse and the next that these power controls is impressive. Verse 13. And cinnamon and ars and ornaments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and chariots and slaves and apostle clay of male human beings and cinnamon and merchandise of frankincense and perfumes and intoxicants and oil and fine flour and white and livestock and sheep and horses and cars and slaves and the very emphasis of people and cinnamon and others and ornaments and frankincense and wines and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and chariots and slaves, rahu, of male human beings, and cinnamon and alvaros and ornaments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And cinnamon and merchandise of frankincense and perfumes and intoxicants and oils and fine flour and wheat and livestock and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves who are you? And slaves who are you? And the Nubians and are still the slaves of Amorite after all these years. They are the dead blacks, Negroids, who out of their trust in the Caucasian man utterly slave for him from Monday through Friday, all for the mighty dollar bill. And the very spirits of the nation of people with all the money they acquire from the merchandise. They will want to kill other people. Amorite has no regard for life if it's in the way of his physical fulfillment of wealth. It's all a part of the crumbling of this decadent society, and it's very vibrant. It's shedding apart. Verse 14. And the fruits that your spirit lusts after are separated from you, and all kinds of things which are small departed from you, and the fruits that thy soul lusts after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them more at all. No more at all. And the fruits of thy soul lust after are departed from thee, and all things which are dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. And the fruits that thy soul lusts after are departed from thee, and all things which thy dainty and godly are departed from thee, and thou art find them no more at all. And the fruits that your spirit lusts after, such as prostitutes, yet no more whores and harlots will be available and are separated from you, and all kinds of things which are small and needy disappear. Every convenience of everyday living will be gone. The basic necessities of life will be a thing of the past. No more import and export trade will mean an end to having the things that Americans normally take for granted. Verse 15. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand far off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and the things which made the businessmen rich are now standing far away from because thy cry and weep. And the merchants of these things which made rich by her shall stand far off for the fear of her torment and weeping and wailing. And the merchants of these things which were made rich by her and shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment and weeping and wailing. And the things which made the businessmen rich are now standing far away from them. Businessmen will have no more business to tend. The Donald Trumps and the Adam Cushings, or the Kushogis, and the Murdochs, richest man in the world will have no more willing and dealing, for even the love of the new Babylon, Wall Street will be crushed. They will realize that their fate is tied up with America's because of the fear of the pain. They cry and weep. They will experience devastation of their whole world right before their eyes. Verse 16. And saying, woe, woe, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, saying, woe, woe is the great city which was wrapped in silk and purple and red and colored mass of gold and precious stones and pearls, and saying, plague, plague, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, saying, plague, plague is the city, the great city which was wrapped in silk and purple and red colored mass of gold and precious stones and pearls, which is used as a veil of wealth to conceal all its evils. On the outside, America looks like a beautiful gem, and it has lured many innocent victims into its shores. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every master, and all of the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, because in 1 hour will be destroyed great riches and all her leaders, and all those who accompany with sailors and ships, and all who work in the sea. They too will stand far away. And for in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every master and all of the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. And in 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all of the company and ships and sailors, as many as trade by sea stood far off. Because in 1 hour will be destroyed great riches in just one swoop, and the empire of New Babylon will fall, and all its glitter and wealth will be destroyed, and all her leaders, and all those who accompany with sailors, ships, and all who work in the sea, and they will too stand far away. The Persian Gulf, the Suez Canal, and the Panama Canal will all be cut off from America, control and trade. Verse 18. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what is city like unto this great city? And they will cry when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, who resembles this great city? And they cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city like unto this great city? And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they all cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, who resembles this great city? As they cry, they do so in compassion for the new Babylon, who at one time has marveled at for its uniqueness. Today, people consider no place on earth to be like the USA. No nation on planet Earth can compare to the United States. Its culture and influence dominates the world, and they will see the glorious America go up with the smoke of its burnings, which will cause them to cast dust upon their heads, an act of sorrow and demise. Verse 19. And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costlessness. For in 1 hour she has made desolate. And they cast some dust upon her heads, and cried in a loud cry, weeping, saying, woe, woe to the great city, with whom they all became rich, which had ships and seas from buying by the way of her costlessness, because this is 1 hour it will be. And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, the great city wherein were made rich and all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she had made desolate. And they cast dust on their heads, and cried and weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, reason for her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. And they cast dust upon their heads, and cried in a loud cry, weeping, saying, Plague, plague, at last, the great city of New Babylon, USA, with whom they all became rich, which had ships in sea, and all nations of business of the world, who traded with the United States from buying by the way of their costliness, and caused herself those who associate with her to suffer a great loss because of the expensive lifestyle and the inhabitants of her shores have became accustomed to. Because of this, in 1 hour it will be destroyed. Verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou Orion skies, and the heavenly ones, and the apostles and the prophets, for Theos have avenged you on her. So be happy because of her, O you who are in heaven, O you who are in heaven, O you who are holy apostles and prophets, because Allah sentenced her for you. Rejoice over her, thou Shamyami, and the holy ones, and apostles and news bearers, for Yahweh the Elohim have avenged you on her. And rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God have avenged you on her. So be happy because of her. Not everyone will be sad to see Babylon completely destroyed, because some will rejoice because of her demise. O you who are in the Orion skies, who are the 24 elders, who are the 24 elders, and those souls who had already been slain because of righteousness, O you who are the holy apostles and prophets and news bearers, who deliver messages to chosen men and women, because Theos sentenced her for you. Verse 21. Verse 21. Verse 21. And a mighty Anglos took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon, and that rose a great angelic being with a very large millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, By violence will the great city be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Babylon received her destruction, and will not be found any more after that. And a mighty Malachi took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus will violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And there rose a strong Anunnaki Elohim with a very large millstone, which was the upper stone of the rubbing mill, and cast it into the sea, saying, By violence will this city Babylon receive her destruction, in the same as it ruled the world, and wreaked so much haste or havoc and confusion throughout the planet Earth, and will not be found anymore after that. When she falls, there will be no other empires like hers to come ever again. Verse 22. And the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, and there won't be heard in you from now on any sounds of the plagues, nor the sounds of the plagues, nor the sounds of the harpists, nor the sound of the musicians, nor the sounds of the flutes, nor the sounds of any musicians, nor any craftsman of the skills of any kind will be found in you, and the sound of the millstone won't be heard in you after this. And The voice of the harpers and the musicians of the pipers and the trumpets shall be heard no more at all, and the craftsman whosoever craft he be shall be found any more. And the sound of the millstone shall be heard no more at all, and the voice of the harpers and musicians of the pipers and the trumpets shall be heard no more at all, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft shall be shown to be found any more, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all, and there will be and there won't be heard in you, United States of America, New Babylon, from now on, and any sounds of the plagues will be over. You won't hear the sounds of people wailing and bemoaning and their state, nor sounds of the harpers, nor sounds of musicians, or any flutes, or any trumpets, and no sound of the music will be gone. And the sound of the music will be gone. There won't be any parties or concerts to go to, no more music videos, and no more craftsmen or skills of any kind will be found in you, and the sound of the millstone won't be heard in you after this at the end. Verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all, and for thy merchants were the great men of the planet earth, for by the sorceries were all Gentile nations deceived. And the light of the lamp shall not shine any more in you after that, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride will not be heard in you. And after that, and your businessmen who are the heads of the earth by the way of your sorcerism, have all nations been deceived. And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all, for the merchants were the great men of the planet earth, for by the sorceries were all Gentile nations deceived. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, by the sorcerers were all nations deceived. And the light of the lamp of the lighthouse will cease to shine out their guiding beam upon the seas, and they will not shine any more in you. In the United States, after that, the voice of the bridegroom and the bride no more family life as the people of Babylon know it today. It will cease to exist. It will not be heard in you after that, and your businessmen and politicians and superstars and preachers and priests and pastors and witches and warlocks who were the heads of the planet earth by the way of their sorcery, they have deceived all nations. They have tricked the whole world into worshiping Zoom, the evil reptilian, sometimes called the devil, Satan, Satan, and the host of other names, and no one knows that they are devil worshippers. Verse 24. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and of the saints, and all of that were slain upon the planet earth. And in her can be found the blood of the prophets and the holy ones, and all who were killed in the planet earth. And in her were found the blood of the prophets and the saints, and of all that were slain on the planet earth. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and the saints, and of all that were slain upon the planet earth. And in her, Babylon, the United States of America, can be found the blood of the prophets who were persecuted for doing the work of the Most High, and the holy ones, the 144,000 who will be raised from all parts of the earth, and all of the righteousness who have existed on the planet earth, because they have kept themselves pure, they will be worthy to be taken up. They will become the sons and daughters of Theos. And all who were killed in the planet Earth, all the righteousness who would be killed after John, son of Zebedee, time until the end. And that is the end of this chapter. So, I'm going to leave it at that for now. If you want to check this out yourself, you sure can check this out. It's going to be on my channel. It is already on my channel, the whole book. But if you just want to check this, clip it out, you can check it out. I'll be posting this soon. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer. And on that note, family, I hope you guys know that you are loved beyond this world. Begin to spread the love one to another. Be the peace that you seek. Release our master teacher, Dr. Malachi Zurich L. Peace, shalom, hashtag divine love, and wadu. And it's all